Welcome back everybody into another daily recap. As we're going to see today, this is what happened on gold, and we already talked about it in the Instagram reel. Price during pre-London already reacted at our strong supply area at the 1782, retested 1779. That was an intermediate PSA due to the highs of the previous day. Retested and went aggressively 60 pips more, like 90 pips from the top till the end, made a new and also a double top new lower high. And if we want to retrace, to look at the retracement, this is basically a 50% retracement. If we use the full retracement, it's more or less 50% before the continuation down. As you can see here, the demand area first gave us some bullish scalps, but then with the very aggressive bearish momentum that we had through London, we were coming into also New York, pre-New York, with this demand area turning supply. This means, and it can be found why, because these were the previous lows, this was the previous support. We are in a bearish, with a bearish wedge, as you can see, against this support. I don't know if it's not a PPL, but price breaks below, retests the low of the order block and closes below the bottom of our PSA. And this was 35-37 pips scalp. Price then, of course, we were, where were we? We were between this first demand and this bigger demand. So in this area, I was expecting price to react multiple times. And as you can see here, we put the PPL. We had the first double bottom at a PPL. And then that's when the retail sales data came in. And we can see the retail sales over here, these two. And they came out much better than prior, much better than expected, and that's what gave us also the ex-autos. And yeah, the month over month was a little bit but still the control data was much better than expected, much better than prior. So that's why we had this first a bunch of up and down between supply and demand. We see that the demand is holding, so that's why I was backtesting it, and I placed a buy position over here, and this will go to 60 pips, so 3-1 risk to reward. And then still remember that we are in a bearish overall trend, and when we see price that is failing to make new higher highs, basically at this PPL, this first candle rejected the PPL, could have given you a quick scalp, 30 pips, rejected the PPL, rejected the previous highs, and fails to make. And of course you have also the fundamental bias of, okay, the retail sales are good, so that's good for the dollar, and this can be at right at New York Stock Exchange open. This is what I always talk about. This was the start of the pullback. You could also caught these scalp buys because we are still at a demand area. This is the top of the demand area. Scalps to the upside for around 30-37 pips. But then your bias is that you know that this is the pullback before New York Stock Exchange opening. Fails to make new highs. New York Stock Exchange opens already bearish. You don't need the top week because this liquidity grab on the upside was already your top week, and that's where you can enter your sells. And this is a clean 3-1, but you can even further enter when you see that the bearish pressure is holding strong. I'm talking fast because the FOMC minute just got published, and we're going to see the reaction now. Price fails to make new highs again. You see here, bounces and jumps against the PPL multiple times. I think we are coming into the 4 a.m. 10 a.m. candle, fails to break. As you can see, the 10 a.m. candle makes the top wick this time, fails to break, you can have your sell entry anywhere here at this level as high as possible to give like your 20 pips the best idea, and then you go a little bit slower but still 60 pips. That's of course these were not live traded here, but were based off the support and demand area on the 15 minute. So this is the FMC minute just released. If this area fails to be broken, we can see the price continuation down, but then we have this huge demand area at 1758. But what we need to see is the price that is failing to break here, possibly failing to break there if you want a deeper pullback for price to continue down. I don't know what happened, if there's any news, the tone of the FMC minute. What I'm looking is just based on the chart. We can still have a bullish pressure because of this double bottom, but if we react at this huge demand area turns supply, price can easily go back down. But this is it, guys, for today. Okay, as I was saying, because I removed the recording, to do a recap, we identified the supply area being respected into pre-London. We have the continuation bearish. We have the possible buy scalps at our demand area for quick 45 pips. Then we identify that you have a retracement that is basically 50% for a possible and doable new lower high for the price to continue bearish. And then you identify that the price action is breaking and retesting the lows of this demand, turn supply. These are quite risky scalps because of you have this demand area very close nearby, but as you can see, again, retail sales, they are making their volatility, but we are touching the bottom of 1765, which is a PSA and strong demand area that can give you more than 60 pips. But afterwards, you see that either the new 4-hour candle, this is the pullback before the new 4-hour candle, gives you quick scalp, and again, the pullback before New York Stock Exchange opening fails to make new highs, confirmation of sells down to the previous demand. These are not, I'm not advising scalps, but a 40 pips scalps. This is a nice range, and still this is very, very clean between demand, supply and demand. Very clean range and supply, and you can take advantage on both sides. And there you go, the break below, price fails multiple times, even with the 10 a.m. candle, fails to break above, and that's where you have your downside. As you can see here, let's see if it's happening exactly at this PSA. Let's give it like a few more minutes, or if now the supply is turning a demand. Of course, for me now it's not a trade moment. I don't even know what they're talking about. So for me, it's just identification of possible PSAs. We're going to see in a few minutes. I'm going to leave it this. But I hope you guys enjoyed. See you tomorrow.